Well, we didn't think we'd have to do that in this house. But this floor in this kitchen is so warped that we don't have a choice.
If it snowed in here, you could go bobsledding on this floor. That's how warped it is.
Yeah, it's like down and then woo, up and woo. So what we're gonna do is this whole section here, how far back you can come, it's warped here.
Yeah.
You can see it from right there, so
Yeah.
probably gonna have to come all the way back here. I mean, you talked about taking.
Right. What I'm going to do is this here is pretty solid. So I'm just going to go up to here, come all the way across to this seam here, and then just take up and replace this entire section here.
Really? So you measured it for a 4x8 sheet of plywood?
I haven't measured the size yet, but these beams are 2 feet across.
Okay.
They're supposed to be 16 on center, but they're actually 24 on center.
I wonder if these two houses we're working on have very weak floors, even though they're particle board. We've never seemed to have to replace that much.
Right. And these got a little bit wet, and the MDF is like a sponge. It soaks it up and disintegrates pretty quick.
So just by dropping liquids and mopping your floor over time, these particle board subfloors end up looking like this. And this is the previous owner's really good handy job work. And you can even see how swollen it is. That's like a 1/4 of an inch or so on some. Areas. So
Maybe even half an inch.
and taking this whole section out right here, probably bringing it down, like you said, to the seam will level it out, so we'll be able to put a floor in here.
And we'll put down some sturdier OSB.
Yeah. And we went to go pick up some plywood, and now it's like the OSB was cheaper at another Lowe's than the plywood was. So this house,
We saved about $10 a sheet.
yeah, we did $10 a sheet. And this is what we have here.
That's even the expensive tongue and groove sheets.
That's right, tongue and groove. So, while Steve's doing that, I'm over here hanging some blinds for the back door. I got my hooks up already. This door needs a thorough cleaning. And came over here and made this shelf. And then what I need to do later, we put 2 little shelves together and supported it here with glue and nails, so this is pretty sturdy. But it's not gonna move. And what we'll do is we'll get some hooks that we can put in here so that we can put a dowel. Sometimes I just use a cheap little metal rod, which is like under $10 to put up here so that they can hang the clothes. So this is where our water heater is going to go. Steve brought it up from underneath the house. We'll be picking it up probably when we leave here today at Home Depot. So first house we're going to try the tankless. And we will show you step by step how to install that. So right now we have this over here in the laundry area to replace. And Steve's working on this. Just marking everything right now.
Yeah, because I want to get this as square and as straight as possible when I cut it out. Less work for me later.
So this whole section here, even the part Steve's stepping on.
Yep, here, all the way over here to the wall and up to that line.
Up to this line, we gotta replace it. You see the line, there it is. So as we move along, so what do you do, Steve? You just get your saw and follow this line all the way, right?
Correct. Take my circular saw, set my depth so it doesn't cut too deep.
Yeah, you gotta remember to do that. People forget to do that.
Right, because you don't want to slice the joist too deep underneath the MDF. And if there are any water lines, sewer lines, electrical lines, or anything like that, you don't want to slice those. So you set this as shallow as you have to get a full cut on this stuff.
Okay, and that's a bigger Ryobi saw.
Yes.
Because your last one was a 5-inch blade, and this is what, a 7.5?
The other one's like 5 1/4, 5 1/2, something like this, and this is a standard size 7 1/2 blade.
Do you like that one better?
Yes, it makes finding blades for this thing much easier. You don't have to get specialty blades for it anymore.
That's true. Okay, so,
And it also cuts deeper.
right. So do you want me to show? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
So I go ahead and pull the guard back to start my cut. Line up the guide to the line.
It's gonna be loud, folks.
Yep, here we go. Oh, I help put the battery back in. Step 1, put a battery in your battery operated equipment before you use it.
Yeah, don't throw your equipment away. It just needs a battery.
Right. We learned that one the hard way.
Got your cut, and
Yep.
since we're going to be replacing all of this, now it's just time to have fun and tear this up, because mobile homes, they love staples, super long staples.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Here's a staple over here if you want to see one. And that's embedded about halfway into the floor joist.
That's probably what, 3 inches?
Easily.
Look at those.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. This is called your underbelly, which is your insulation, and you could tell when pipes were. This is the old piping. So
Polybutylene.
so don't worry about that. You'll see ones like that.
Right. The CPVC lines is the current water supply lines for the house.
Once we get a couple of other things hooked up, then we'll be able to test the water in this house. Okay, so once Steve has fun tearing all this up in a big hole in the kitchen, we'll come back and
Well, you
take
can watch
another
me get
shot.
started if you like.
Alright, this is how we get started. Am I gonna be in the way over here?
This is one of the tools I use the most is my pry bar.
So Steve is putting it between the subfloor and
Floor joist.
floor joist. Okay. Just slowly be lifting it up.
Just walk it down just to get all the staples loose from the floor joist. Alright?
This is gonna be one whole big piece coming
Yeah.
up.
It's
So
also
we
going to save
still
us ton of time too. Yeah, I still have to cut along
Just have to
there.
cut along here so we can lift it up. But once he does that, this thing's gonna come up pretty easy, it looks like.
Right, but from what you've seen so far, that's the gist of it, the basic process of it. I'll go ahead and cut this, and when we're ready to pull it up, Lisa will pull the camera back out so we can show you how I pull up the whole piece at one time.
All right.
Got it?
Okay.
All right, we're back. I've gone ahead and cutting along that wall over there. And I've also pried up, so now all I have to do is lift it up. I haven't been able to get it all the way around, but I'm just going to lift on this end down here where I'm standing. And just lift up, and it'll break right around here somewhere. And then after that, it's just a matter of cleaning up and get the rest of it out. So, what we have to do is lift.
Make sure you stand on the joist.
Yes, make sure you stand in the joist or you'll be standing on the ground.
That's how long those staples are.
Yep.
Okay. That's all they did. They put mobile homes together with industrial staples.
Yep. So now I've got all this done. I'm going to finish getting the rest of this out, prepping it by getting up all the staples that was holding the old one down, and then after we've done that, I'll start bracing it, and I'll let you watch me do some of the bracing on this. And oh, you can also see the main trunk line for the HVAC system here.
Right there.
Yeah, they got insulation wrapped around it. And of course, there's the water lines again.
And here's where you can just lay it right down on top of it.
Yep,
And screw it in floor joist.
that's the plan.
So that little piece will have to still pull up, but
Yep,
that's how easy it is.
that's right, it's not hard.
How heavy is that plywood? Or, I
It is-
mean, is particle
Pretty
board.
heavy. I mean, I can still lift it and carry it out, but
Yeah, it's going
it isn't
into
light.
the bed of the truck. Okay, so the whole area that we have to replace is tore up. I'm going to show you a couple of repairs that were done, or so-called wood found out in the yard type of repairs.
Yeah.
What did you find, Steve?
Well, this isn't the first choice of wood I would use to brace it,
Why not?
because see how it's thinner here,
Yeah.
so it doesn't quite have as much strength as it probably needs. But otherwise, thickness was probably okay. But what he did is, you see there's a nail here, but not over here. What he did was he put this in between the joists and only nailed this side to the floor joist. This side here, the only thing that was holding up were these nails that had it attached to the subfloor panel.
It looks like that one over there, you did the same thing, right?
Yeah, this one feels a little bit tighter, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll see the same thing there. Other than that, the subfloor came up pretty quickly. There's only maybe a couple of these staples that I still have to pull out. I still have to pull this out. And then once I get that, I can start installing the bracing at the edges on this end and that end, and over there where it's underneath the cabinet where it's hanging over the side of it.
Now, are you gonna, because it's so wide apart, 24 inches instead of what we normally see, because this is an older mobile home, are you gonna put a brace like across the middle or just leave it?
I'm just gonna leave it because the OSB we're putting down is the thick stuff. It's a lot more durable than this MDF that we're taking up and replacing. So OSB will still weaken over time if it gets wet and stays wet. However, it deals with water much better than MDF does. MDF, it gets a little bit wet, sucks it up like a sponge, and starts to disintegrate almost immediately.
Really?
Whereas OSB lasts a bit longer if it gets a little wet.
So this section here, you're going to be putting a different support, some 2x4s.
Right. I'm just gonna, like he has the supports here, I'm gonna put something similar down, except that I'm gonna do it right.
Yeah, at least put a couple of nails on each end, screws on each end to hold it up tight, right?
Yep.
Okay. Alright. Then we'll show you once we start to do the fitting.